We're being manipulated in a way that is so typical with the mainstream media. But when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and their rehabilitation back into the royal family, we simply cannot accept this. Because let me tell you, I know for a fact that Prince Harry hasn't softened his stance on the fact that he is still demanding an apology from King Charles, from Prince William, to his wayward wife who made false accusations of racism. So the fact that the MSM and the Royal Rota and virtually every single royal commentator are trying to gaslight you into thinking that William is making a mistake for not wanting Harry back is a joke. It is a total joke, and I've got to bring some truth and accuracy to what's going on. Because you will have seen all of this reporting over the weekend that, oh, Harry and Meghan don't even want to come back anyway. Well, as Royally Sage correctly pointed out on X, let me translate this nonsense. Rachel and Harry were never offered to come back. They know the royals won't have them back, but they need headlines. And they are going to squeeze every last drop from a simple staff meet and greet before the Harkles fire this new comms team. Amen to that. And so the Daily Mail has unfortunately been at the forefront of this. My ex-employer, I don't know what's happened to them, remembering Prince Harry is still trying to sue your asses into oblivion. He is the enemy. He's never going to come around. But look at this. Harry and Meghan have no plans ever to move back to Britain. And this was the reporting following news of a secret peace summit between aides of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and his father. It was thought the Windsor family feud could be resolved, paving a way for the prince to return to the UK. However, friends of Harry and Meghan have said the couple are very happy in California and are never likely to return. A source who is close to Harry said they're very happy living in and raising their family in California, and as it stands, have no plans to leave. Now, of course, a source also said, everyone just wants to move on and forward now. It was finally the right time for the two sides to talk. Well, of course, all of that is rubbish, because Prince Harry is not happy in Montecito. He has absolutely no life there, no purpose, no ability to make money. He's miserable. But what's happened is that his friends in the United Kingdom have decided to use his so-called enemies in the mainstream media, acknowledging that a cheerleader like Omid Scobie, that very odd-looking bloke, remember, who used to sort of look like Michael Jackson, is not the best messenger. So now they've chosen a new messenger. And it is a woman called Charlotte Griffiths, who is the editor-at-large for the Mail on Sunday, and she has been sent out over the weekend to the right-wing broadcasters in the UK to try and change your mind on this, to try and manipulate you on this. So here she was first up on GB News.
Even though it would be the most incredible publicity for her books and her TV deals and her cookery show, I still think she wouldn't be able to face it. She wouldn't be able to face the boos. And last time she was in the country, her last ever official engagement, she was really badly booed, and she just can't handle that, I don't think. And also there's, of course, the famous security issue, which is that Harry believes she can't come here without being attacked in some way. The narrative it really has kept going since I spoke to you this time last week. This constant chatter from aides and sources saying, something is happening, and it may move at a glacial pace, but the beginning of the end of the feud has begun.
Interesting. Yeah, and I wonder what our viewers think. Would they forgive Harry if Meghan was out of the picture? Maybe not divorced or anything like that, but if Meghan was just kept away from Britain, would they accept Harry back and maybe try and rebuild bridges with him? Interesting. And also, just mentioning the security wasn't a problem when Harry was gallivanting up and down, was it the King's Road in Fulham or wherever he was, knocking on random doors looking for his friend, eh?
Well, very good point there from Ben Leo. But it's not a good point to ask the question about whether the British public want Harry and Meghan back, because let me tell you, we don't. We absolutely don't. But Charlotte Griffiths is on this tour and she's using the Daily Mail to try and lay the groundwork for exactly that to happen, because she did the same thing on Talk TV with Russell Quirk. Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
Boy, has he had a seriously messed up life. I mean, his dad and his mum would go
Haven't
on
we
to
all? No, hang on. Sorry, Charlotte. Hang on a second. We've all had mishaps and issues and so on. It's not an excuse for trashing your family publicly to the point that Harry now can't be trusted. I think that's the issue here, isn't it? How does Charles trust his son not to badmouth him in the future, not to use the content of any conversation in a book or a Netflix documentary? Notwithstanding the fact that his mother died, tragic as that was, he's not the only person that's had family tragedy. And I don't think that's an excuse for him to be so bitter and twisted towards his family, frankly.
Yeah, but did your parents go on national television when you were a child and badmouth each other in interviews with Panorama and the BBC and David Dimbleby and Richard Dimbleby? I mean,
I think that affects you when you're 15 or 16. It doesn't affect you when you're 40.
Well, something happened, because you're right. He did go on to trash his family. He's clearly full of rage and anger. He can't contain it. He spills it out to Oprah. Something must have happened in his childhood. I mean, I'm sure we can guess many factors. But you're right, in terms of the trust, there is no trust. And that was the whole point of this peace summit. That's why the summit wasn't between Harry and Charles. It was between Harry's aides and Charles's aides, because they were hoping that they could build some trust, because they can't get King Charles and Harry in a room, because Harry will leak whatever his father says. And of course, you know, what happened with that meeting is it did eventually come out, which has caused a furore, and probably put them back a step or two. But I would say that the lines of communication are still open. You know, the King hasn't now shut the door after that peace summit.
Oh, Charlotte, pulled the other one. You've admitted previously that it was leaked to you before the meeting took place. It didn't take a long while to come out. The meeting was on Wednesday. You published it on Sunday. And look, congratulations. You're very happy that you've got a scoop. But please stop this absolutely intellectually dishonest narrative that Harry was some way damaged, mentally damaged by his father and his mother. Because let's be honest, William's come out okay, so let's put that to one side. And can we also please stop pretending that this is a man who is at all prepared to admit that he has done anything wrong? So we're going to get into exactly how we're being manipulated by the royal rota, by the mainstream media right now with royal and media expert Lauren Lunn Farrow. She is on Instagram as the media strategist, and she has spent 20 years exposing mainstream media narratives, and it is a pleasure to have her on Outspoken now. So, Lauren, look, I really wanted to talk to you because you have spent the last week completely picking apart the way that the mainstream media are just flat out manipulating us when it came to this leaked meeting. But why do you think they are so desperate to try and convince the British public that we in some way need Prince Harry back? What is really going on here? What is the motivation and what are they doing?
They need to make money. This is why, you know, the mainstream media exist. They are a money-making corporate machine. So ultimately, if sales are declining, if clicks are going down, if they're not getting their hits and selling those units of papers, they need to change the narrative. And we're coming into silly season, being August. This is perfect timing for them to start tapping up a new narrative. And people have to really open their eyes to this because it's propaganda, it's lies,
Yes.
and they are taking the public for fools.
Well, they are, because as I point out, Prince Harry actually hasn't changed his stance. So
No.
surely, Lauren, it is a non-starter, given he's coming at this from a starting point of myself and my wife need an apology from King Charles, Prince William, and the Royal Institution. Like, surely that makes it a non-starter from the off. He's not going to get that apology, is he? There's no way it can be delivered.
Yeah, I don't think he is going to get the apology. And I also think they're surrounded by yes people. I mean, being in LA, that it is such a toxic place to live where you just pay people to tell you what you want to hear. And it's really distorted. And when I saw this piece, I was so shocked because, there were so many rookie errors made with it. It was done at a private members club. The photographer, I couldn't find the name anywhere apart from a portrait photographer that was from America based in the UK. The whole copy read like a piece I would have copy approved when I was a celebrity publicist. And there was too many factual details in there for it to, and it was too positive for a start. It was far too positive to be an organic male article. And this is just ludicrous that they think the public are this stupid, and they're trying to align themselves, I believe, with a journalist and rewrite the narrative. Where do you go? You go to the biggest newspaper on a Sunday, you go to their editor at large, and you slowly start to turn the narrative. But the thing is, they're totally unmanageable. They've gone through 25 staff. Their new comms team has gone from 2 people in-house to 8 externally. And this PR agency, Method Communications, they're more tech, more consumer. I don't think they know what they're doing.
And
Not
these
the
are
PR
the people who are
agency,
now
sorry.
managing Harry and Meghan's PR internationally.
Yeah. But they've got boots on the ground in England, Harry and Meghan. There's too many cooks. And when I saw this piece, it, saying you've set up there's a secret meeting happening at a royal members club. I mean, it's illegal to print these pictures.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Ipso, who are the apparently independent governing board of the UK press, under clause 2 of the Privacy Act on their website, it states pictures like this are illegal. If you are a private members club, you are entitled to privacy. Now, I did research and I found a video and pictures of the balcony where that meeting was. It is not, you cannot see it if you're just a member of the public. That's why people go to a private members club, to have private meetings, because they don't want to be seen in the press. And the aides that were going there, they're not people you would instantly recognize. They're not, names and faces that the paps are aware of. And this is just shocking to me, because I really don't like people taking the great British public as fools. And this is
Totally.
what the royals and the press are doing.
Yes, because your point being, Lauren, that actually if they were not happy about the publication, if they hadn't worked with these journalists, if this story hadn't been leaked, then they could be taking action against the publication of these photographs. And of course, there has been not even a murmur of that.
Yeah, I'm actually writing to Ipso because I'd like some clarification from them on this. I think, people are entitled to privacy, absolutely. So if the Mail have broken that privacy rule, I think it's very important to get to the bottom of it. However, having done this for 20 years, I have placed so many copy-approved stories in national newspapers, set up pap shots. I would place a large amount of money that this is 100% leaked and set up. And I don't think it's actually leaked from one of their friends. This is leaked from someone that is a seasoned PR expert, in my opinion. But the fact that the meeting happened at the ROSL club, which King Charles is a patron of, makes me think that his side also had something to do with where it was happening. I don't think they were across the fact the pictures were leaked, but he's obviously, it was on kind of neutral ground.
Yes, 100%. 100%. And what's so shocking to me, though, is that the rest of the mainstream media have just decided to run with the Daily Mail narrative. So take this, Lauren, from the Daily Telegraph over the weekend, a piece headlined, "In the minefield of royal relationships, Harry hopes to have hit a turning point." And they say, after years of attacking the royal family in interviews and launching legal battles in the UK, the Duke of Sussex seems to be changing tack. And within this article, Lauren, so they talk about the interview, that terrible interview that Harry did just a matter of months ago. Can we just remember He came very close to accusing the royal family and King Charles of being involved in part of a cover-up to try and kill him, right? So that's literally a few weeks ago. And in this piece, the deputy royal editor, and why this matters, Lauren, is this is the person who has the contact with Harry and Meghan, so we know that if it's a piece written by this woman, that it's going to be quite propaganda. Victoria Ward is her name. And she writes, the interview did nothing to curry favour at Buckingham Palace, where it was met with raised eyebrows and wary resignation. Even those close to the Duke recognised that it may not have been the smartest move. It was not as if there had been no warning. The highly damaging allegations made by the Sussexes in their Oprah Winfrey interview of March 2021 have not been forgotten similarly. The revelations and indiscretions peppered throughout their three-part Netflix series Harry and Meghan. Wiser heads may now prevail. The Telegraph understands that television interviews are currently very much ruled out. Despite the furore prompted by those latest missiles fired via the TV cameras, the underlying sentiment was plain to see. A little more than 2 months later, two of the Duke's most senior and newly appointed aides sat down for drinks with the King's communication director. The meeting was leaked, much to the frustration of all three protagonists. Lie, but the fact that it had happened at all was revelatory. It was fortuitous then that the next sighting of Harry was in Angola. So what they're effectively trying to, I think, as you quite rightly say, Lauren, through a piece of propaganda, tell us is, so let's just forget. Let's just forget what Harry said 3 months ago. Let's just forget that he was suggesting that the royal family is involved in some type of complicit conspiracy to kill him, and we'll move on. But first, in today's digital world, your online freedom and safety have never been more under threat, whether it's government overreach, tracking by big tech, or cybercriminals lurking on public Wi-Fi. That's why I use Surfshark. It is the world's best VPN that protects your identity and secures your data. But Surfshark is so much more than your usual VPN. Go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark to secure your data, protect your freedom, and support Outspoken at the same time. Now, look at this. Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing links so you can browse safely without being spied on. And it makes the experience so much easier and more pleasant too. Need to access certain apps or websites without VPN interference, like your banking app? Surfshark's bypasser feature handles that with ease. And if your VPN connection ever drops, Surfshark's kill switch immediately disconnects your device from the internet, keeping your data safe at all times. Plus, with dynamic multi-hop, you can route your connection through 2 different countries at once, doubling your encryption and making tracking nearly impossible. This means you can freely switch beyond your favorite country lock shows with the click of a button, so you can be watching your favorite TV shows and sport from all around the world, wherever you are. There are other benefits with Surfshark too. You can access it on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service too, which is a real positive. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. And what's more, Surfshark's so confident that it is the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 40 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken or use the code outspoken at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. But now back to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's really important to note that I've turned the narrative with a lot of household names, and you don't need to get every paper on side. You don't need to get every journalist on side. What they've done is they've tapped into the Mail and the Telegraph, and this is brainwashing. It has begun. People are, ingesting all of this media, and they are being brainwashed to absolutely forget what Harry has done. And remember, Harry and Meghan have rinsed the lemon. They want to come back now because he's done the book. He's done the
Yes.
Netflix, she's done everything. And now what do you see? You see her launching wine. Wine as well that's the go-to moneymaker in the world of celebrity. Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Diddy, they've all got alcohol brands. I don't think they are. I think they're out of their depth. I think they are micromanaging PR people within their team and trying to they think they're being really clever, doing lots
Well, yes,
of
because
highly.
Because your point is that Meghan in particular is wanting to make money, and so they need to get the proximity to the royal family back. And actually, I was looking at one of your Instagram posts on this, and this is when Meghan posted this shameless plug of her as ever wine tied to Queen Camilla's birthday. And you posted, not one to miss an opportunity to plug her own products whilst tapping into UK royalty for relevance to get back into the forefront of the mainstream news cycle. And I think you are totally right that that's what she's doing. But why is King Charles and Buckingham Palace not waking up to this, Lauren?
They have to keep their guard up because we have seen they are not able to slot into royal life. And I think another reason why it wouldn't work with them coming back, they are living in LA where, your egos are massaged, you're surrounded by yes people, no one ever says no to you. If they come back to the UK, they are going to have to slot into a hierarchy that is not compatible with their egos. And I also think it's really important to make the point that Meghan launched the wine brand as ever on Diana's birthday.
Oh, it was sick.
And
Totally
I just think,
sick.
We know that Diana's driver was under the influence when she tragically passed away. I think, putting the Instagram video up on Queen Camilla's birthday with the wine, and I've got to say, when they wanted to depart kind of public life, I was all for that. I thought, good luck to you, raise your family, live a quiet life. And then they said, oh, we want to do a life of service. I'm sorry, Netflix, Oprah, flogging a wine brand, edible flowers, shortbread. This is taking the biscuit. This is absolutely taking advantage of the public, and we don't want it.
Totally, but there's a lot of intra-royal relationship pressure going on here as well, right, Lauren? And the person who I feel very sorry for in all of this is Prince William. Because Prince William, and actually Catherine as well, although Catherine tends to leave him to do the fighting, the internal fighting, but she knows what this woman is about. William knows what this woman is about. They are not for turning. But what I have found particularly disgusting, and I've seen this campaign ramp up, Lauren, over the past 3 days, is the mainstream media now turning on Prince William to try and pressure him, to try and make him look like the bad guy. And I've just got a couple of examples that we can look at here. So first from Valentine Lowe. Now, Valentine Lowe is a highly regarded royal correspondent. He wrote the book Courtiers for himself, but within that book was the revelation about the bullying from Meghan Markle. But he wrote a piece which I found astonishing in the Times over the weekend, headlined, "The Sussexes could be back on the balcony in 2 years, but don't expect to be cheered." And he actually even painted a picture of how this could work. So let me take you through it. I mean, I find it totally astonishing that he would go there, but he said, "It is a Saturday in June 2027, and the crowds have gathered outside Buckingham Palace to see the royal family watch the traditional fly past after trooping the colour. As the family gathers on the balcony, the eyes of the crowd, and more importantly, the lenses of the photographer, are not focused on the king. They are not even watching Prince Louis, now 9, and still more than capable of the show. They only have eyes for 2 people. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex back in the royal fold after years of self-imposed exile in California. As the Sussexes stand there, Meghan offering her most dazzling smile, while Harry yet again finds himself incapable of hiding the hint of a scowl. They are greeted with, well, what apart from incessant clicking of camera shutters, cheers, boos, or a confusing mixture of the two? Shockingly, could it even be indifference? The Sussexes are not used to indifference. Simon Lewis, The former Buckingham Palace Communications Secretary, who now co-presents the BBC Radio 4 podcast series When It Hits the Fan, said, "I think the British people would like to see some sort of reconciliation. They are pretty understanding of Harry. They all saw what happened to him as a child, and there is a lot of sympathy for him. There is still a reservoir of goodwill that he might be able to tap into, but a lot needs to be resolved before there can be a proper discussion about return and what that means. It is, however, a complex picture. People will find it harder to forgive Meghan than Harry, but there will be a warmer welcome from the young, who are always more prepared to see Harry and Meghan as victims of the royal family rather than the instigators of their own downfall. Perhaps the key player in all of this is Queen Camilla, who has good reason to feel bitter regarding all the things that Harry has said about her, but she is a canny operator who knows what it is like to be a royal pariah. If she thinks that a family truce would bring some measure of happiness to her husband's remaining years, she could be the person to make that happen." Now, honestly, I was like boiling with rage when I first read that, Lauren, because firstly, I'm like, you are painting a total fantasy. They will never be on the balcony again for Trooping the Colour while William has any will or say, because even if there is some type of rapprochement, they're not going to ever return as working royals. But it's the fact that within this piece, Valentine Lowe is specifically lying about the stats, claiming that the British people really want a reconciliation, and then, did you note, really piling the pressure on Camilla, as if this is somehow her responsibility to welcome these two people back into the fold. But to me, given he is a highly credible MSM royal journalist, that was the absolute proof of this type of manipulation and propaganda that you're talking about.
Yeah, and they've run out of things to talk about. So they're talking about things that aren't going to happen in 2 years. That sums up the mainstream media. It is not fit for purpose.
No, I mean, I totally agree with that. But isn't the worry, though, that they still do maintain an outsized influence, especially when it comes to the royal family, who haven't even got their head around this independent space at all? And so they're looking and thinking, oh, my goodness, the Times, the Telegraph, the Mail, they're all telling us that actually this would be a good thing. They're all telling us that Camilla needs to get involved. I mean, unfortunately, as much as I might like to think that the influence of the mainstream media is completely over, and certainly times are changing and they're changing fast in terms of who people trust, when it comes to the deep state, the establishments, the institutions, they are still very often led by these really dishonest brokers.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's that drip feeding. It's a little bit here, a little bit of commentary there, and it's just building this up. What they're trying to do is build new foundations and set a new narrative and let that have a ripple effect. But the issue with doing that is there are two people that will not play the game, and there are two people that think they are bigger than the establishment. And so it has no longevity and it's not sustainable.
Then we come to the left-wing media, and they're not even hiding how much they think that Harry has to be allowed back. And of course, this is where we get to that, I think, completely unfair and undue pressure on Prince William. And I've seen this everywhere, but I just picked one example, okay, from the Independent.
And they know William cannot answer back as well.
No!
So he just has to let it all come out, let his, image be trashed.
As his rage grows.
Yeah, and he's also, he's getting ready in, decades or years or however long, we don't know, but he will be king of this country one day. There are a lot more important things for him to be focusing on than his brother, who has done nothing but slag him off, monetize that trauma. William has a lot on his plate, and yet again, he is backed into a corner where he cannot say anything.
100%. And remember as well, Lauren, he has made his decision. Like, the man is not for turning. It's like these two have to remain in exile. There's no way they're coming back. If Papa lets them back in, they'll be back for a certain period. But when I take charge, it will be back to exile, which is why I found the mainstream media coverage about this so infuriating. So I've just picked one example from The Independent, but there's been a lot of this, right? So this one, is headlined, Harry's homecoming depends on one man. And that's the problem, right? So William is the problem. And this is a piece written by Tessa Dunlop. And she writes, William is not a man for turning. And as the spare knows all too well, one day the Prince of Wales will have all the power. But impressive kingship, like all good leadership, requires flexibility. If at the moment Harry steals all the negative headlines, it will be history that judges William and his more powerful older brother. Only by genuinely forgiving and including the spare will he be able to boast that his reign has the requisite hallmarks of modern monarchy. And most important of all, he will know it is what Diana, his mother, the self-proclaimed Queen of Hearts, would have wanted. Now that, Lauren, is peak emotional blackmail, peak manipulation. Because number one, William never wanted this. It was Harry who wanted it, okay? And he's gone with it. Number two, to suggest that Diana would currently be on the side of Harry and Meghan when her number one purpose in life was to ensure that William had the support to become king from his younger brother is, I think, delusional. I think Diana would think that the way Harry and Meghan had behaved was appalling here. But again, you see, it's this manipulation. It's like, let's turn William into the bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is the mainstream press all over. It's like good guy one week, bad guy the next week. And while Harry has been having brunch, lunch, whatever, with Oprah and Montecito and hanging out with Tyler Perry and all of these people, William has been holding the fort here. William has been quietly getting on with life, doing what, is within his job role, raising his children quietly behind the scenes. And it's Harry that's been kind of living a larger than life experience in Los Angeles. And to have William painted as the bad guy is absolutely ludicrous. And to bring in that, Diana would be upset or she would want them to reconcile. I don't think Diana would have ever wanted Prince Harry to live in a mansion in Los Angeles and be estranged from his family.
100% not. I mean, she was a big believer in the royal family. And then, Lauren,
absolutely,
we come back to the real world, okay, the American real world. And remembering it's the American left, the American entertainment industry that was always pro Harry and Meghan, but not anymore, because we've seen the total roasting from previously very liberal left-wing outlets, from Saturday Night Live to South Park, and this weekend, Family Guy, massive cartoon, huge part of American pop culture, is now in on the act, mocking Harry and Meghan in quite a brutal way. Look at this.
Brian, this is a terrible idea. We could change the course of history. You always say that, but doesn't history pretty much suck? I mean, the Crusades, Hitler, Prince Harry marrying Meghan Markle. Again? Oh, like all of your wives are so much better.
It's like, this is what you're fighting against. It's like, you can be trying to do all of this PR manipulation through Charlotte Griffiths, through the Daily Mail. I don't know if you agree, Lauren, but I feel like the culture has bolted. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you've lost. It's too late.
Yeah, I feel as well with William and Kate, they are very much in touch with the people and they do understand the struggles people are going through and what's happening in the real world. Harry and Meghan are so removed from reality. It's unbelievable. Her Netflix show bombed because no one's interested in someone skipping around, putting edible flowers on meringues. Her rosé that's been released is, I think they're testing the water because it's sold out, which I don't actually believe. But they're trying to keep going and going and going, but they are so out of touch. They live in a house that has 16 bathrooms and he's constantly pleading poverty of, we have to work. I had this taken away. Well, you know what? Why don't you do what everyone else is doing around the country and around the world and cut your cloth accordingly?
Indeed. Very, very well put. And of course, the whole point of having Dan Wootton Outspoken is that I do cover the exclusives and the stories that the Royal Rota won't. So you can sign up for first access to our Royal Uncancelled After Show Monday to Friday at www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.